1, 2, 1, 2.
Uno, dos, tres.
Uno, dos, tres. Testing, 1, 2.
Cuatro, cinco, seis.
I always feel like I'm when we're setting up our kids' equipment. Always so that.
Oh, dude! Thank you again for that, man.
Well, I'm glad it was a good party for you guys.
It was, man.
That was you guys had a lot of people.
It was. I was nervous. The Laker girls, obviously weren't able to make it because we made it to the playoffs, and then we sucked after that.
Yeah.
But it was really cool, man. I saw so many people recording it. I saw videos afterwards. I got some footage for you guys if you guys want
yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah, like a Dropbox?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Killing flies. And then I did talk with the board. I let them know. Hold on.
Were they happy with it though?
They loved it.
Okay, good.
They loved it.
Because you never know what to expect when you see kids there.
Yeah.
The vibe is always different.
Yeah.
So
it's I think the only part that sucked, I mean, even like today, man, it's raining or not raining, but
yeah, it's gloomy and it's cold. Oh yeah.
I'm like, dude, what? It's like in May? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And it was supposed to rain that day.
Yes, I remember.
Dude.
And then the winds kicked in a little. Oh no. And we live in Southern California for that reason.
It's been an odd I don't know, it's just been odd climate, like more than normal. Obviously sometimes it's a little bipolar, but it's just been weird. I don't know why. Is it global warming or
I don't know, dude. El Nino or El Nina. I don't know which one it is anymore.
But here's the check, man.
Appreciate it.
It's a little more than you asked for. So
I appreciate it. The kids will love it. Thank you very much. I will go ahead and get this over, and we'll shoot a thank you with the president for you guys. But I'm glad you guys liked it, dude. Because I can tell you, 90% of the time when our kids walk in, people don't know what to expect because they don't expect kids to begin with.
Yeah.
And then the kids show up and they're like, "What the hell is this?"
It's so cool, man. They played good music. They were all smiling. When I was recording them, they were like, all giddy about being on camera. So
it's that age. The average age there is 13. So it's that age. They're self-conscious, but they also like to do the whole video thing.
How is it that that you guys started with that? Like, obviously, I know that you said that your daughter, when you were talking to Mike last time, that your daughter liked this.
The organization started 8 years ago. Our president, Eddie, who's a homicide detective, got tired of pretty much going to investigate murders for the kids. So he said, if I could put instruments in their hand instead of guns. So it started in his backyard, and he lives in Norco, but he's a Santa Ana detective. And unfortunately, Santa Ana has a lot of gang problems.
Yeah.
And so he started there in his backyard, and then 5 years ago, we got a building in Corona where our kids, we have 4 rooms where we teach our classes, and then we brought in 6 years our maestro. He's the real reason why the kids are awesome. Is he's a real maestro, and I got involved 5 years ago when my daughter saw her cousin was in it. So cousins want to do the same thing.
Right.
And then after she did it, I just was a parent. I just go see them, and that was it. But I love the organization, and then my daughter got more and more involved, and now my daughter's in the advanced group and competing and all of that. And
was she trumpet?
She's a violin. She's one of the singers in violin. And then now we're moving on where we are trying to teach it now. Corona Norco dual emergence. I don't know if you're familiar with dual emergence.
No.
Dual emergence is where they teach English and Spanish since first grade. Okay. So everybody in the school must learn English and Spanish.
Okay.
So you have little gringos that speak perfect Spanish by the time they get to 8th grade. It's called dual emergence.
Honestly, man, I mean, what they say is right. Within, if you learn another language when you're young, that's where you can absorb it the quickest.
Yep. And so it's called dual, and my sister's a dual emergence teacher. And it's great because since first grade through 8th, you have to go through this program. So the way they break it down is like, the morning is taught in English and then the afternoon is all taught in Spanish. And it doesn't matter the language you speak, you have to learn both. So they have these programs
That's in first grade?
since first grade. Yeah. So they have this. So Corona Norco has it. That's where my sister's the teacher. And now they want us to teach their dual emergence after school programs for mariachi. So we teach at Hemet Unified School District. Now we're hoping to teach at Corona Norco, where we'll be teaching all those programs. Because California, when you get to elementary and junior high, you only can go to band. And they don't
Right.
really have string instruments.
Right.
Arizona, for example, which is where we always go to compete, you can go mariachi or band,
Mm,
and they teach it in school.
right.
California does not do that. So we have to be an after-school program.
Right.
So we're trying to get them more involved with that. But our eventual goal is to teach all these programs in the Inland Empire, have conferences, have competitions here, and then go from there. And then from there, grow it to where it's a standalone organization where, we're attached to every school.
And it's Herencia Academy.
Herencia Mariachi Academy. Yep.
Herencia
And we're a
Mariachi Academy.
nonprofit. We have a little under 100 kids right now. Prior
That's a
to
lot of kids.
prior to COVID, we were at 130.
It's a lot of kids.
Yeah, and in Hemet we taught 65 kids, and Corona Norco we're teach about 150 kids. That's the goal.
Yeah.
And so, little by little.
Do you play an instrument?
Oh no,
No.
I played the guitar for 1 year, and my right hand and my left hand don't communicate,
Right.
and I don't sing either. So we don't have no music. Me and my wife have no musical talent whatsoever.
Unless you said karaoke.
And then we have to be drunk on tequila,
Yeah.
and even then it's awful.
So I actually did I did band, and I did, like, growing up it was listening to like salsa, merengue, like my dad loves that music. And it's an orchestra, right?
Yes.
It's a full-on orchestra that's playing, and it's just like upbeat music, nothing like band. And so it's like I just couldn't. I did well, but I couldn't necessarily get into it as much. It's just, it's very orchestra driven. It's I don't know, man. We would go to shows. I remember we'd go to competitions. You're performing like down the parade. Okay, cool, that's fun. I think I did jazz band maybe for like a year. I went from the alto sax to the tenor sax. But it's not the same when you can incorporate other kinds of music into it. So I think that's a really cool idea, to be able to just at the very least open up the kids that want an opportunity to play different kinds of music.
Yeah, and usually most of our kids are in band.
Hmm.
Most of our kids are in band in school and junior high and elementary, but they obviously don't play mariachi instruments.
Or like if you do choir, right? Like the girls that would do choir, it's like, okay, it's choir, but you get to build up your voice. You get you get to learn certain things, but you're not necessarily, well, for some, right? That's not their thing.
That's correct. Yeah, and so like my daughter plays the trumpet at her elementary and junior high.
Yeah.
She don't play trumpet for the mariachi
Right.
because they don't have the violin as an option
Mm.
there. So, so the evolution is, I'll leave you on this. The evolution now is that we are trying to partner with Ucutlan, which is UCLA's mariachi, USC's mariachi, UCI's mariachi, UCR's mariachi, where we can start feeding our kids to be involved so they can go to college. We have 5 kids graduating this year, and they're all going to college. And our goal, that's how we want them to leave us,
Yeah.
go to college. So we are now trying to get involved with these clubs so we can say, okay, hey, here's your next step.
It's a
Get 'em-
natural progression.
Yes, that's
them.
exactly what it is. We feed their program, but they also now have other motivations to go to college, because you know how it is. A lot of kids don't have that motivation, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
So,
lot of us don't.
yep. So that's our next goal. A lot of us don't.
A lot of us don't.
Yes.
It's school, man. For me, it sucked. I hated school. But I think the problem was teachers, right? And not teachers, like teachers in general, but there was like several teachers that took an interest in me, and you can tell who those teachers are, where they talked to you, they got to know you. And one teacher told me, this was, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. I helped her purchase her house, helped her refinance her house. She's referred multiple teachers and people in the school district to me. And she said, look, the thing is that I saw you for who you could become, not for who you were as a
Right.
child at that age.
Right.
You know, you're a teenager, you're trying to mess around, you're trying to do these things, but when I separate you from the group, I could see who you really are.
Correct.
And a lot of teachers, I think, sometimes just see you for that bratty child, which we are bratty childs at, you know, maybe teenagers, some of us more than most. And so, or even science. I hated science, dude. But now, let's say Neil deGrasse Tyson or Bill Nye, I'm like, dude, if these guys were my
Because they
teachers,
make it interesting.
100% interesting.
That's how you teach, right? And it's at the end of the day, it's it's every kid has a different way of learning, and they're not everybody's school.
No.
And these days, I would argue that college degree is what a high school degree was when we were growing up.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything anymore.
Right.
I know plenty. I mean, you're in the mortgage business. I know plenty of people that have bachelors, and no offense to everybody out there, philosophy.
Hmm.
What are you gonna do with philosophy? I mean, no offense.
We're still recording
No, we're good, brother.
now. So the thing is that, right? Like, I see a lot of people where it sucks, dude, where they have a master's in something.
Yeah.
They're in debt about 150 grand, $200,000, and they're making nowhere near six figures.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's a degree in liberal arts, for example, and I'm like, I mean, I don't know what you were doing in college, but you still can't make a living wage.
No.
And so I think sometimes, like, even in, I mean, just the simple stuff that we have to do with our clients, where I taught a class yesterday, it was a first-time homebuyer seminar. Normally, when we do a first-time homebuyer seminar, or when you're taking that type of course, it's an 8-hour course, right? You have to do 8
Right.
hours.
You're talking about the certification?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so 8-hour course, usually maybe a 30-minute to an hour exit interview, get your certificate. And I'm trying to crunch this in 45 minutes. Like, they wanted me to crunch it in, but I'm like, wait, I can't rush to the DPA side. I can't rush over to the assistant side if I can't very simply explain what a pre-qual, pre-approval, and approval is,
Right.
the documents that are required, and normally what's needed. Like, I at the very least have to do this upfront chunk to then talk about the assistance part. I can't just come in here and talk about assistance if they have no idea what I'm talking about. And part of those classes, I think, help people understand how finances really work.
Right.
In the audience, someone asked a question as far as like, well, what about my money? Like, I have cash. It's like, why do you have cash? And I understand Diego says this a lot. It's a cultural thing or a family thing, like what your family taught you, what culture may have taught you.
Yes.
And a lot of, let's say, minorities were using cash. You're literally have cash under the mattress. That's not a story. That's not fake. People literally have cash buried in their backyard. First of all, as a lender, I don't know you have that cash, so I don't know whether you're responsible or not with saving. If you tell me that you buy everything cash, I don't know if I lend you $100 if you're going to pay me back.
Correct.
So it's like simple little things that don't get taught, let's say in school, or opening up your mind, for example, to different kinds of music, or like with what you guys are doing after school, to be able to teach them something extra in a fun way. But people learn differently.
You're right. Everybody does learn. It's about evolving and growing. It's about understanding that the key to growth is understanding that you never got to get comfortable. And like what you're talking about is two of my brothers didn't go to college. It wasn't for them, but they did very well.
Yeah.
Extremely well. My sister went to college. It's not for everybody, but college is an investment. And whether that ROI is there or not depends on whether that investment is a good investment, the rewards. Now, if you do coding, if you do stuff with software, if now AI, I mean, I don't think people understand AI. I don't really think people understand how AI is going to affect our industry. AI is what the MLS was when they went from the book to the internet. And I don't think people understand that. And this is what's coming. And it goes back to the growth about learning new things. And one of the things that we try to teach our kids is always be growing, always be learning. But as adults, I hate to say it, we get stuck in our ways, stop growing,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get pissed when things aren't done the way they used to be.
So I've seen a lot of videos about ChatGPT. I don't even know how the hell you say it.
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. GPT?
GPT.
GPT.
Yeah, GPT.
Okay. GPT. And I've seen a lot of podcasters, a lot of people talk about it, and they're like, oh, it can help write your emails, it can help do this. And in my mind, just because of the way I was brought up, I'm like, you're fucking lazy. And how do you not know how to write an email? Are
Correct.
you that inarticulate? In my mind, right?
Yes,
That's
correct.
the way I'm thinking about
Yeah.
it, because I'm constantly writing emails, constantly doing proposals, constantly speaking with clients. I've had to perfect my craft in regards to how to communicate. So now you're so lazy that you don't know how to write an email that you need to use this chat thing. That originally what I thought. And then last week I started using it. I downloaded and I said, okay, let me figure out a video of something that could potentially work for me. And I started using it and I started seeing the responses. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously I'm not going to use it for that purpose of emails. That serves a purpose for others that may not do what I do,
Correct.
or maybe as well versed as I am, so that I have a leg up on that side, right? But others might need that help, because what I was doing, what I was using it for was looking up different names, different stories. I mean, give it in a context that's a little bit more fun. Give me different ideas about this, and it just kept spitting out responses. And it's like a chat feature now. And I screenshot a lot of it and I sent it to my brothers. I'm like, yo, dude, check this out. And then one of my brothers responded back, what kind of witchcraft is this?
Yeah.
Because if I wouldn't play with it, like you said, if I wouldn't play, continue to complain about it, like how things are being done. But I'm not including myself in the conversation to be like, no, like we can actually use it. We can use it for this. And these are the tools. So it's always growing. It's always learning. Like what I'm doing now, somebody I was talking to last week, they're like, dude, like, how did you get the stuff to look like it looks? And I said, well, I wanted to figure it out and I just wanted to learn. But I think a lot of us don't want to learn. Like we're
No,
just stuck.
we don't. And this is something else. So based on what you're saying, I thought the same thing. You can't write a freaking email, then what are you doing?
Well, yeah.
My sister's like, it's going to make kids lazier, which I think a lot of them, it is going to make them lazier. But I will argue this. It's going to make us more efficient if used correctly.
Right.
And it's going to make the people that are lazy, lazier. And that's what's going to happen. So the way to look at it is it's a base of knowledge. And you need to be able to do prompts on it. You need to be able to talk its language.
Right.
It speaks a whole different language. And the way to look at it is, so let's say I want to shoot a video. The way I used to do it was people would ask me questions, clients, and then based off that question, I would shoot the video, come up with a title, and upload it. That's it, simple. Well, people always, I don't know, always argued or fought it, and at that time, like, I don't know what to shoot a video about. I don't like the way I sound. All the excuses. Okay. Then you get companies like Keeping Current Matters that come out and say, we'll give you the script. You just shoot the video. They still don't do it.
Right.
Right. They still don't do it because they don't like the way they sound, whatever. And they all have excuses. Well, AI is going to be the same. It's a tool. And this tool is going to make you so efficient, or it's going to make you lazier. But for the people that make you more efficient, it is going to kick ass. I have the ability now to go in, because I use a paid version of ChatGPT, but I also use another one called Jasper. Jasper it does prompts for you. In other words, I don't have to think of how to ask the question correctly to get the correct data.
That's another challenge. Yeah.
So if you don't know how to prompt it,
yeah,
it's going to give you crap in, crap out, right?
Right.
Because it's a neutral brain that has full of knowledge. And if you don't know how to ask it correctly, it's not going to give you the data you want correctly, right? I have the ability now to go on Jasper and say, I'm going to do pull trends for this. I want to write me a 60-second video on why living in Riverside, California is the best thing to do if you're going to move to the Inland Empire. And it'll write me a basic script. Still basic.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it gives me the bullet points of what I have to say. But I still have to shoot the video.
Right.
I still have to record it. So let's assume I record it and I do exactly what it tells me to do. Well, now I can go to Jasper or ChatGPT and say, here's my script. Write me the best title.
That's the part that so I've shot a lot of these, right?
Right.
And I'm doing a lot of clippable moments.
Right.
Clippable moments, it's like either I remember it or I kind of watched it and then I'm like, okay, pick this, pick this. But what I haven't done is upload the full versions yet to YouTube. A lot of them, it's people have told me to not upload them, right? They said things that they don't want others to hear. And then the other part was, or at least the advice is bank at least 5 to 10 videos. Like when you upload, make sure at least if you're doing a full on version, upload 5 to 10. I'm like, okay, so I can do that. I have enough. But the second part was the description and the tags. And then that's where I'm like, now I'm that idiot that can't write an email because I don't know how to write a description.
Yes.
Let me figure out how to write a description. I'm like, wait, I just used ChatGPT.
And it will write it for you.
Exactly.
And give you the hashtags.
Yes.
Yes.
And so it's perception, right? Like what's your sorry, not perception, what's your perspective?
Yes.
And so technology is there to use it. Lazier people will continue to be lazy and then the other people are going to find an ingenious way to use it.
I could spend more time being productive, making more videos, selling more, meaning more people.
Yeah.
Not lazier, makes me more efficient because now I get to spend more time doing what I need to be doing. I always go back to the same thing, which is ChatGPT, that brain is knowledge.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's data. My apology.
Okay.
It's data.
Okay.
It is our job to translate it to knowledge to our consumers. It's still our job. That hasn't changed. With ChatGPT, it's just made it easier for us. I used to go on Google and it would give me all these articles. And then I still have to read the articles and pull the data that I needed for whatever I was doing. Well, ChatGPT does all that for me now. It pulls that data.
It's like the Cliff Notes.
That's exactly what it is. So I'm getting the data quicker, which allows me to now put out more knowledge.
Right.
We still have to translate it for the consumer. That will never change. But AI now makes that easier. I'll take it a step further. You do a lot of video editing. So I use a few software, Splice, Canva, and a lot of stuff. Right now, we can save our data, our videos, our raw videos and our completed videos on their servers. That's where we store them, right?
Right.
Well, the next evolution in the next 6 months is Canva will now be able to see what kind of videos you like, know what you like. And now when I upload the raw videos, it will edit them and put them together for me because now it's learning what kind of videos I like to do. So video editors are going to go the way of the travel agents. Graphic artists eventually. There's another one called Deli, I think it is. I can now create custom images that do not exist. I can now say I want a family of 4 looking at their dream home next to an agent, Hispanic, with 2 kids in Southern California. It will create that image for me.
That's so crazy, dude.
And I don't have to worry about copyrights because if I go to Google and I take that image and put it in a presentation, there's always that issue of copyright.
Right.
Whether it was created from scratch.
It's new. It never existed.
It never existed. So now it's new. Now, mind you, most people are not going to use it like that, and I get that. What I'm saying is if you don't embrace the fact that our industry is going to be changing because of this, then you are you're going to be that same agent that said, I do not want to give up my listings book
Yeah.
and put it on the internet because now I lose control and God forbid what's going to happen. I came into real estate the year after it went on the internet. So I still knew brokers that had the listing books and would complain. We had all the data.
Right.
Well, those days are gone. This is the same thing now. But if you don't, going back to perspective, if you don't understand it, if you fear it, if you look at it as, oh my God, this is going to happen in a negative way, then you are, my friend, are going to be one of those people that are going to be left behind.
It's I think, I mean, we have to learn. You have to learn. You have to keep up. I've been in this industry a long time. Obviously, I know you reminded me last time of the first time that I came over. So it's what is so if I were to rewind, and if I would not even rewind, but if I was a 19-year-old right now who was starting in this industry, I started when I was 17. What would I know more than myself right now is kind of what I'm saying. So a 19-year-old starting in this industry versus me, I just turned 39. This guy doesn't know anything yet, right? Doesn't know anything about loans. He's just hungry. He wants to make money. What would this guy use that this guy's saying, I don't want to use it? Because this guy has way more of an advantage as far as technology is concerned. So that's what I told you. I don't want to be left behind. I cannot get left behind, and I cannot get beat by a 19-year-old. That would just burn my biscuits.
But here's the funny thing is so our industry is in a big issue right now. And the issue is this, that the majority of the realtors in the world are older.
Yeah.
Not younger.
Right.
And the younger ones are doing it part-time. They're not doing it full-time. So if you look at all the agents in the state of California and you break them up by age, the chunk of the young ones got licensed, but they're not full-time realtors.
Right.
Okay. The older ones, I'll put myself in there, is we do it for full-time. This is our gig. This is our job. It's a business, and we're entrepreneurs, right? The older people do not want to learn this because it's something else to learn. It's like when TikTok. I'll be the first to say, TikTok was just something else. It's just something else. I've slowly evolved to it. And the reason I evolved to it is because it hit me. The next buyer of the houses are the ones using TikTok.
Yes.
The ones using Facebook are the ones that already built their wealth. And they're going to be transferring that wealth to their children. Two different markets. So for me, I'm late to the game. But that's okay. Better late than never. But now it's like, okay, now I'm going to do videos aimed at that one because that 25-year-old is going to buy a house.
Yeah.
And if I'm not putting out the content, which is a business card, by the way, guys, that's where they're searching.
Right.
I have a client right now, and you'll appreciate that because you're a big TikToker. You got, one day when I grow up, I want to be just like you, buddy. I have a client that when I ask him, where do you do your research when you're doing real estate? I expected Google. He goes, no, TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm researching TikTok now. And it never hit me that TikTok is a database, but it is what it is.
It's searchable content.
Yes. Yep.
It's searchable content. I spoke with somebody this weekend, and they said, because I was recording an invitation for the class that I did yesterday, right? The first-time homebuyer class. And I went live. I'm like, hey, I got to do this video, and I'm talking to my audience or whatever. And she was on it. And I had met her about a year ago. And she said, look, when I told my family about you, I was a little concerned because I knew where the judgment would come. Like they started to ask me, where did you find this guy? And she's like, TikTok. And then your appearance, for example, like how I dress,
right?
My tattoos.
You're not just traditional suit, blue suit, red power tie.
Exactly. And so that her daughter was like, oh my God, Mom, like, what did you do? Like, why are you trusting this guy? But it's very easy. All you have to do is Google me, right? You Google me, you look up my license, you look up the reviews, you look at what I've done in this industry for the last 20 years. It's like, oh, okay, like this guy just has a different personality, right? But agents get so surprised when I tell them people are messaging me on every single platform, more on TikTok than Instagram, than Facebook, that want to purchase houses. They're all younger, a younger demographic. And for me, it's always, how do I connect with people on a personal level?
Right.
It's not because some like all you have to do is I have to pull up someone's feed and immediately I can tell it's all real estate, right? I'm not me as a lender, I'm not going to follow you, right? Or me as a client, I'm not going to follow you. Like, why would I? Okay, unless I'm just specifically looking for investments, it's more or less like hobbies, right? Like hobbies, maybe music, maybe vehicles, maybe painting, art, mariachi. Like, how do I connect with this person? And then they, oh, by the way, they do real estate.
Yes.
Like, I trust this guy. I want to mess with this guy on a real estate aspect. Um, and a realtor just told me the same thing. He's in the car community. And so I asked him, I said, hey, what's working for you right now? Like, what's really working? He said, well, I just continue to dive into cars. Like that's my passion, that's my hobby. I do real estate to earn money, but this is my passion, right? A lot of those guys need to buy houses. And so he was telling me that when he posts stuff, it's a little bit of real estate, mostly hobbies, personal, family, and then maybe some real estate. He's like, I don't want to abuse the relationship that I have with the people that follow me. I don't want to just make them feel like they're being sold to.
Right.
And so that's what I do at the end of the day. I want people to connect with me because they like me. Like, and yeah, what I do for a living is real estate. That's what I've done for a very long time. But I think sometimes people have it backwards. Maybe older agents, it needs to be all business, and I always have to be suited. It's like, well, then what makes you different than anybody else?
But it is the older crowd because a lot of the students we have, they're like, I don't want people to personally know my business.
You're allowed to share what you want to share. So
Correct.
so Gary Vee talked about that one time. He said, "You guys don't know what my kids look like." This is a couple years ago. He goes, "You guys don't know what my wife looks like." And I was thinking,
You
that
know,
makes sense.
because of all the videos he does, they're never in it.
Nope.
He talks about them, but
Yeah.
they're never in any of his videos.
So he says, it's you. You decide what people see.
Yep.
You decide the personality that you put out. So on TikTok, it's mine is very unfiltered. On Instagram, there's a bit of a filter. On Facebook, there's a big filter, like with what I post, what I say, what I don't say, because I know the audience. Audience is older, audience is more conservative, but on TikTok, it's not. And so I know what to share on each platform. Sometimes I say, well, I think I need to go viral today. And I'm not kidding. I think I need to go viral. I know what music, I know what sound, I know what dancing I'm going to do. And sure enough, it just goes viral. Like I already know how to do that on TikTok, but more or less TikTok for me is an artistic, creative outlet. That's what this is. Like for me in my mind, like when I play with the videos, it's like, okay, well, people are going to say something of value. I love talking to people. I like editing. Well, going back to your point about editing, and I want things to look a certain way. So let me just mess around with it. One thing I did see on the AI auto edits, I didn't like them.
Right.
I'm like, this is not my style, and that's why I won't pay anybody to edit my videos. But as these systems continue to grow, right, or gain more knowledge, maybe in 6 months, or maybe in 3 months, I might just say like, oh, if this system is learning my style, and it's like I can upload 10 videos, and then the system recognizes what my style is, and then they
Yes.
can replicate it. Oh, dude, game changer.
And that's where it's going. It's so right now it's already starting on from a tech standpoint. So the one I use, it reads my website, so it knows my sense of humor and how I write and what kind of information I put out. So when it's writing content for me, it has and it tells you, it asks you, do you want to be witty? So mine's always sarcastic and professional. That's because that's my personality.
Yeah.
So so that's what it always gives me. Um, so, but it is evolving. It will learn. That's the next evolution. It will learn. Now, to be very clear, it's the 80-10-10 rule. So let me explain what the 80-10-10 rule is. It will write 80% of the content for you. You still need to go in, and the next 10% is your personality. You still need to go in and add your twist to it because it's not going to be 100%.
Right.
So you still need to add that 10% to make it you. Then you need to, after you do that, put it back in and have it put the finishing touches, which is the final 10%, the title, the subtext. So it's the 80-10-10 rule. That 10%, that's what you're talking about. You still have to add that.
Yeah, you have to.
It's at the end, it's still an algorithm, right? It's still a computer. And so you're absolutely right. So every time it spits something out for me, I still add my 10%.
Yeah.
And then I put it back for the final bow. But you have to have that 10%. If not, people will start to read and understand it's not you.
Right.
So let me be very clear on something. This isn't going to replace us communicating with people. It's going to make it easier for us to communicate people if we use it correctly. I argue that this is going to allow us to get the correct message to the right people at the right time more often if used correctly. If used incorrectly, it's just going to make you lazier, and it's going to be more spam and more unwanted stuff because you're not taking the time to figure it out.
It's I think at the end of the day, people, I mean, we smell bullshit. Like we recognize bullshit. You and I talked about that last time. You talked about it with Mike. It's like, this guy's just not sincere.
Nope.
And the people that are on those platforms are also hearing about the things that we're talking about. They also hear about the things maybe for their field or their industry. You can recognize, oh, they probably use this.
Right.
So if you're not inserting your personality, if you're not being yourself, then at the end of the day, it's like you're just another talking headpiece. Like, why am I going to call this guy?
So you're another marketing campaign. So like
Yeah.
I can go right now and create a 10 email campaign for clients, past clients who I want to re-engage who I haven't spoken to in the last year.
Yeah.
And they will write it for me. But isn't that, no offense again to loan officers and realtors out there that do this, isn't that the same crap when you get an email at 3 o'clock in the morning that tells you about recipes for the month?
Right.
You know that didn't come from you.
Right.
It came at 3 o'clock in the morning, first of all. So you ain't up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And second of all, it's generic.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this is. It's the same shit.
Yeah, gotcha. That
I
makes
don't.
sense.
Can I say that shit?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the same shit. So all you're doing now is customizing the shit to be
Yeah.
more of your shit. So that will always need to be there, which is the creative, artistic part of our personality.
You have to.
It always. But again, if you're lazy, you ain't adding it now. And if you're lazy, you ain't gonna add it with this anyways.
No.
It's gonna give you 10. You're gonna put it in your CRM. I use Chime. It's gonna send it out, and that's all it freaking is, and it's no freaking different. I always love when I wake up every morning. The first thing I do is check my emails as I'm having my coffee, and 90% I'm deleting, right? Because anything that comes in before 7 a.m., I know you didn't send to me. Just to be very clear.
I hate spam emails, dude. So I will, because I have Outlook running and I have like Gmail running. And so then I will go to Gmail and I'm like, report spam, report. I will report everything as spam. If it's spam, I'm going to report you as spam because I do not like my inbox flooded with bullshit. Like we're busy, you know, the 5 seconds it took me or the 1 second it took me to look at it, I'm just annoyed. I'm going to spam you and I hope your account gets blocked. I hate spam emails, dude. At least make it specific to me. Make me think you tried. It's like a girl would say, well, like what is it? I don't want to wash the dishes. Well, I want you to want to wash the dishes. Well, I want you to want to try.
Right.
And if you're not trying, I'm done.
Yeah, and how many companies are out there? That's their thing. They get paid to write creative content. And that makes it look like it's not spam, right?
Yeah.
They do better than the generic ones,
Sure.
but it still is generic. And I think we still need our personality in there. If you want to be successful in anything in this life, you're going to have to put your personality on it. And I think going back to Gary Vee, which I freaking love to death, I think people care too much about what other people are going to say about their posts.
So this is the thing. No one is sitting up at night saying, what the fuck did Paco write today at 11 o'clock in the morning? And they're sitting there at midnight dwelling on it, analyzing what you said, what your post was, what your hashtags were. And I know this sounds rude. You're not that important.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
But if they do, because by the way, they have, then what does that say about that agent who made a comment at 11 o'clock at night about something you posted? Because I can tell you, when I first started, a third of the comments were from agents, and they were flattering.
Yeah.
And it made me think, like, oh, shit, what the hell? What did I do? Maybe I did say something wrong. But I realized they ain't doing it, so who
Right.
gives a shit? But you're right. What does it say about them? But your message about nobody cares is absolutely correct. Nobody cares that you said ums, oofs, ahs at all. Nobody cares.
No one
Other
cares.
than
You.
you.
And you're up at night like, damn, I should delete it. What did I
Yes.
say? How did I say it? And yes, the more you do it, the more polished you might be, right? The more you do presentations, the more ums you remove. The more that you're able to engage with a specific person, that's just honing your craft, right? We become experts at presentation. Same thing if you start doing videos and things get a little bit different the more you do it. But if you're constantly deleting it or you're constantly, you know, I guess self-critiquing, which I don't blame because I self-critique myself all the time, but I don't remove it, right? I don't remove it. And if you're scared of doing it on Facebook, right? Maybe older demographic, go to TikTok.
Yep.
I promise you, this is what I tell people. Nobody knows you on TikTok. Nobody knows who you are. You're talking to a bunch of random strangers. So now, if your ego, and again, this is maybe sounds mean, but if your ego is this low where a random stranger's comment offends you, then maybe you need to work on how to elevate your ego or how to have more self-confidence, not elevate your ego, but have more self-confidence than just the content itself. You got to work on yourself more because I don't care what someone says about me. Like, you don't know me, you don't pay my bills, like you don't live with me, you don't depend on me, I don't depend on you. You're just a random stranger talking shit. Why would that affect me? Like I don't know. I was not brought up that way. Now, the most amount of people that are going to follow you on TikTok are random strangers.
Correct. They're not. Facebook is people who are in your sphere,
Yes.
and realtors and loan officers.
And you know what? And I actually looked at that earlier this week. I looked at some of the views on a video on Facebook, and it was like 99% friends, like 1%.
Yeah.
You know,
You're absolutely correct. And TikTok is the Wild Wild West, as
It's
you had put it
total
last
opposite.
time. Yeah. And that's where you go and the videos I put, the DMs I get direct, I get more DMs on TikTok from random people.
Mhm.
And half of them want to argue, by the way. Because, I did a video on why, and I'm going to do another one on why paying rent, even though it's cheaper than mortgage, long term is the stupidest thing you can do because it doesn't create wealth. Anyway, that's a conversation for a different day. So I just put it out there, said, don't listen to the noise. At the end of the day, real estate builds wealth. If you're wealthy, God bless you. But you need to build wealth. You start with a house.
Right.
And they want to argue about no, because, rates are high. You've heard it all.
We have these arguments all day long.
And so I respond because I think it's cute.
Yeah.
I just think I see what you're saying, but you're wrong. You won't get that on Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook is because people know you. So it's different. So I think you're absolutely right. I think TikTok is a place to experiment, figure it out. But I'm telling you right now is if you're not getting familiar in 2023 with AI, 2024, you're going to be that agent that's going to be wondering, how is it? We all know that realtor, and if it's the person sitting next to you, don't look. We all know that realtor and loan officer that nobody likes is an asshole, but is killing it. What is the difference between them and you? The difference is they are better at relaying the message of what you want, how you do it, to the people that need to hear that message more often than you. So you can hate them all you want, but they're better at that. That's going to be the difference in 2024 between you being successful and that other jerk who you don't like doing it because he was willing to spend 10 hours a week learning this technology.
I think it's the difference between on and in, right? So a lot of us are in the trenches, in the business, in the phone calls, in the transaction.
Yep.
Versus, okay, let me take a step back. It's what they say, if you're too close to the picture, you can't see it.
Yep.
And a lot of us are just like, well, dude, you got to learn to push that picture away, step back, CEO position, top level mindset. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where do I want to be? Where are trends going? Not only in the field that I'm in, but areas that affect my field.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us failed to do that. We don't see ourselves as entrepreneurs. We don't see ourselves as business owners.
100%.
And you have to look at yourself as a business owner. If I am the owner of, I don't know, a clothing company, merchandising company, shoe company, okay, 5 years from now, am I still in business? What shoes are coming out? What technologies are coming out? How can I reduce the cost of, labor costs and materials? But no, you're focusing on just getting the next deal, getting the next deal. Yes, that's how we eat. But you have 40 hours, as an employee. Well, as a business owner, you need to double that, right? Like it's the on the business and then, I'm sorry, it's the in the business and then on the business.
Correct. That's the E-Myth, right? The book, The E-Myth.
For me, it was Tim Brahim.
Okay.
Tim Brahim and Greg Frost when I was it was honestly, dude, between 17 and 19 years old.
Gotcha.
And part of what goes into it is predictability, right? So
Right.
Greg Frost was huge on predictability. You're going to have a question about this. An appraisal is going to happen.
Right.
Home inspection is going to happen.
So you can anticipate
You anticipate the questions.
the questions, so you already have the answers, which is, anybody who's good at it in our industry, we're problem solvers.
Yep.
So we see the minefield before they do, and this is why you're valuable, right? But the E-Myth, that was a book that talked about there's three of us, right? There's CEO. So one is your CEO, the second one is you're in sales, and the third one you're in ops.
In ops.
Operations, running the business. So you have to be all three, but when are you supposed to be all three?
It's
And so we know what to do, we just don't know when to do it. So that talks about how you have to be able to be a CEO so many times a week, as opposed to just being the salesperson. I think in our industry, we fall into just being in sales. I need the next commission. I need the next commission.
Well, we're looking at the now.
Yeah, we're not playing. We had talked about this before. We're not playing. We're playing checkers instead of chess, and that's the problem. So
Checkers is fun, man.
I love checkers. I got my nephew just got into it, so he wants to play me all the time.
But it's I would say that, like, what I would ask of you, obviously, you do coaching, right?
Yes, for our company.
And
in
let
the
me
East
know
Coast.
when, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you're busy, man.
No, we're
so-
good. I got another 10 minutes and I'm out.
Cool.
I'm outie.
So I know that you coach, right?
Mhm.
You coach others. Or even if, let's say, it wasn't from a coaching capacity, but as a mentor for someone, I would say I'd want some tips for agents that are new. So maybe 3 tips to agents that are new, and then 3 tips for agents that are seasoned.
Okay. New agents. Okay. So tip number 1, we've already talked about. You're a business. You're not an agent.
Okay.
You have to run it like a business, because the mindset is long term. The number 1 mistake all new agents make is, I need to make money now, which I get. We've all been there.
We got to pay the bills.
We got to pay the bills. So I understand that. But that causes your decisions to be inefficient. It causes everything to be short term. It's not sustainable. I call it the cycle of death, and we've all been in it. You work your ass off in sales. Boom, 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 boom. You bring in all this business, and now you got bank. And then what follows? You have no business, and you're burned out.
Yeah.
It's because there's no processes, there's no systems. It's just you go based on only energy and self power of, I'm going to power through, work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and screw my family. I'll see them later, right?
Right.
So run it like a business. That's the first thing. 2, visibility trumps ability. Visibility trumps ability. If you're new and you say, well, why would anybody hire me if I don't have any experience? If you're seen more and you educate more and you put more content out and you're in the community more, people assume that you're also more. Visibility trumps ability.
I want to add to that. And I don't know if it was you who told me, but a farming area and they created a fake agent. Did we talk about that?
No.
Okay, so there's a farming area, and what they did was create a fake agent.
Okay.
But they hit them hard, like as a marketing team. They wanted to do a tactic. They door knocked, flyer, everything that you would think of to make that agent stand out. And then they went back and they surveyed the families, like who's an agent in the area that you would trust? And majority of people said that fake agent. Why? It's not an agent. It's not someone who's working. It's just that visibility over and over and over. And a lot of people think that if you farm an area, it's like, oh, I'm going to go farm an area. I didn't get anything. I door knocked, 300 houses. That's a lot, but you door knocked 300 houses and I didn't get anything. So it was a total failure. Well, how many times did you do it?
Yeah.
Like, did you go over week after week after week after week after week? Did you find a way to market it on Facebook? Did you find a way to look
Yep.
up the zip code? Did you find a way to call them?
Yep.
Like, so that visibility requires like extra stuff behind it.
And my mentor, Jared James, always says this: consistency is undefeated, which is to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
If you send out one newsletter every 6 months and then you complain that nobody called you, there's a reason nobody called you.
Right.
Consistency is undefeated. The third thing I would say to the new agent, which I wish I would have done, CRM.
Okay.
It is so underutilized. It is ridiculous to me. If you don't have some kind of database that's automatically going to manage and put information and educate your clients while you're out doing what you got to do, you've lost it.
Yeah.
I would argue that when you close the escrow, that is when your relationship starts. That is when you're going to get more business. But the agents are the opposite. Well, they bought a house. They don't need me for 5 years, so I don't need to keep in front of them. I don't know. NAR has a stat that's like 80% of consumers would use the same agent they used to buy the house, but only 20% do because they didn't keep in contact with them, because you're not going to buy a house for 5 years anyways, so I don't need you right now.
Right.
So therefore, I'm not going to stay in front of you, right? So those are the top three.
I like those.
For experienced agents that are stuck in their ways, are stubborn, we always used to do it this way. I'm successful already. You know who I'm talking to. We all fall in this trap. I would say the following. One, you have to stay up with the new technology. You have to. As much as the only thing that's constant in our industry is the change. And if you don't understand that, you're still going to be holding on to your MLS book. Stay with the new technology. And how do you do that? Just go to the local associations, go to the CAR and NAR conferences. Just find out what's out there and see if there's anything that can make your systems and processes a little easier. Two, video, social media, video, social media, video, social media. There's nothing better than being seen. You want to be you just want to be the top 3 agents they think of when they're ready to buy or sell. You don't have to be the top. Just want to be the top 3, because then you're going to get a shot. But how many times do we meet someone, and we've been in the business for 20 years, and they're like, oh my God, Paco, how are you? We just bought a house 3 months ago. Honey, we forgot to call.
Yeah.
They weren't on social media, or they were on social media. I didn't stay in, whatever it is, right?
Sure.
And the reason I say that is this. The biggest issue with growth is success. Because if I'm successful, I don't need to grow. I'm already making it.
The biggest issue with growth is success.
Yes.
I like that.
Because if I'm successful, I no longer have to grow.
Right. Right.
I'm making money.
Right.
So you're not growing. Success is the biggest obstacle to growth.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, because it goes back to I'm comfortable.
Yes, it's exactly that.
So a lot of us have established our business. We've grown. People know who we are. Financially, we don't stress anymore. We're not that new agent. We know we're going to make our money, and we don't have to work as hard. And this is why we stop growing.
Yeah, I hear you.
Now, let me define this. The caveat. The caveat is growth can be, I no longer want to be an agent. I just want to be a manager. Growth can be, I no longer want to be an agent. I just want to run a company. Like for me, my growth is in the next 5 years. I want to be the owner of the company
Right.
and just do the marketing side, which is the part I love. And then have my team do the rest. But I'm constantly growing. So you could define what that growth is. It's not necessarily money.
Right.
In my age now, it's more time. It's not money, it's time. Time is a more valuable commodity than money. When they're new agents, money is more valuable than the time because you're willing to work 16 hours a day to make that commission.
Right.
So the third thing I would say to this is teach. And I'll tell you why. I'm a firm believer of whatever you want, you got to give it first. If you want growth, you got to teach growth. If you want to expand your business, you got to expand people's minds. And I happen to see that our industry is full of, I can't teach you because you become my competition.
Right.
That is a crock of shit. There is enough business in this world. I'm a past Inland Valley Association Realtors president, current director, NAR director, or not, I apologize, federal political coordinator. So I'm involved in the political side on the backside. And that means I know a lot of people in real estate in the Inland Empire. I have not once said, I'm not going to have a drink with you because you're my competition. There's enough freaking business.
Yeah.
So quit with the bullshit and just be honest with yourself. You're scared that they're gonna do something better than you are. So, but teach. If you teach, it forces you to constantly keep growing because you have to learn new things. And I feel that as we get older, we teach less. We get more stubborn. We're more impatient.
Right.
This new agent is annoying the shit out of me, which a lot of them do, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So teach, and it forces you to stay young. So those are the three I have.
Damn, dude, those are really good.
So I hope that kind of gives you an insight.
That gives me a lot of insight. I appreciate that because that was really good. That was really, really good. I'm gonna have to rewatch this just for myself, honestly. Those are really good tips, and I thank you for coming out.
Man, I love it. Whenever you guys want to have me out here and just to chop it up. But I will tell you this:
Yes, sir.
is in the next 3 or 4 months, bring me back just for AI.
Okay.
We're putting something together where it's going to be 100% aimed around using it as correctly as a tool. We're spending a lot of time working on it, and we're going to start teaching classes at IVAR because of it,
Okay.
and it's something that I think it's going to be big for the people like you, people that keep wanting to grow.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, see, that's the thing. I asked someone the other day, like, what's your definition of like life? And he said growth. And he's a young kid. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? He said, well, my son. He's like, I just had a boy, and it's just growth. Like, I could see it, right? He's like, in humans, we go to the mirror every day, we see ourselves, we don't see ourselves growing or aging. But I could see it in my boy. It's his first son, his first kid. I could see that in months, it's like growth. So it's like, I know I need to keep growing. And so people can follow you on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Paco the
Yeah, just
Realtor.
Paco the Realtor. It's I'm real easy to find, and and I'm an open book. So if anybody just has these questions, just send me a text, email, and I'm more than happy to just respond. Because like I said, I am willing to teach because if I teach, I get the knowledge back. So I give.
And you like to argue in your DMs.
In DMs only, just to be very clear. I don't believe in arguing in public because so my wife loves the stupid reality shows where they just put them on a panel and it's a reality and they just argue and call each other names. She loves that because it's mindless.
Yeah.
I cannot stand those type of shows.
Neither.
It is useless energy and time.
Yeah.
But if you want to DM me and argue with something, I'm all about that.
Yeah, I hear you. For sure, man.
All right, buddy. Appreciate your time, George.
Oh, man, thank you.
Thanks for having us out there. Herencia and Mariachi loves that.